Two empty beds await the children who are placed in foster care. No one can imagine what they will face. No one can be certain if the children of foster care placement will ever find a loving family. Lauretta Ali, author of Survival of the Fittest, will share the horrors of her life's experiences.
Hello, my name is Gwen Evans, affectionately known as Gigi. I'm an author, freelance writer, and scriptwriter. Today I have with me my friend Lauretta Ali, a performing artist who wrote a book called Survival of the Fittest. I would like to introduce you to her at this moment, and I'd like to ask her some questions so you, as the audience, will be able to find out what makes Lauretta tick. Miss Ali, would you tell us about your book?
My book is Survival of the Fittest, One Child's Life in the Foster Care System. And I wrote the book many years ago. In fact, it was during the new millennium. And I wrote it because I was always angry. I had been in a car accident and had some time off because while I was on disability. And I thought to myself, it's a good time to just get into writing it. I had tried to do that for some years, and really just thinking about what took place in there, I just couldn't do it. But for some reason, when that new millennium came and I had that time to sit down and concentrate, I started writing. Because I always thought, was always angry, and people who knew me either really, really loved me or they really, really hated me. It was never any in between. Because I was always careful, watching myself, watching my back, worried about who I could trust, waiting for the other shoe to fall. Because when you're in foster care, that's the story of your life. You never know what home you're going to end up next. You never know who you're going to end up with, and you never know what they're going to do when you get there. So my book just details my life as told from a child's point of view of her life and her experiences in the foster care system in the 1950s.
Okay. All right. As a writer, what are your views on creating a page-turning novel?
To tell you the honest truth, I've written this novel, and basically I write plays and poems. And because I write poetry, I never write for the purpose of page-turning anything. I just write, and whoever likes my writing, and whoever doesn't, it's just something that they're not interested in. Because I find that for me as a writer, I have to like what I'm writing. I have to write something that I like, that I'm comfortable with. Because I can't imagine getting up every day and knowing that, I have this, thing that I gotta really make that mark in order to get paid. And I don't want to write for that. So I know that I'm probably not the type of person who would be trying to write a page turner. I'm probably the wrong person to answer that.
Okay, were the characters in your book difficult to write about?
Well, yeah. Surprisingly, the most difficult, the ones that really did what they did, and I know they have no business taking care of children. In those days, they honestly, I don't know who gave them the right to take, and I guess probably that may be even true today. But there are some people that my brother and I encountered that we shouldn't have never been placed with those folks. No children should have ever been placed with them. But the hardest person to write about was the foster mother that I had, who was so wonderful. That was the hardest person because, you wish you could reach out to her. You wish you could find somebody like that. I have no idea how I could ever find her, if she's even alive now. But, you just want to reach her because those are the people that help mold your life if you're smart. Because if you hold on to the pain that you experienced in there, you'll be a fractured human being. I mean, my brother died at 37. He died of a heart attack. But that stuff that went on in there just ate through him inside out. He had a fantastic career in the Air Force, but deep inside of himself, he was a very quiet person, and everything that happened to him happened inside, and he internalized it. Me, I was just a warrior. I was always fighting and going around, seeing whose head I was going to cut off next, so I never held too much inside.
I see. Well, what was your most difficult times?
Surprisingly, the most difficult times for me, I think, was when I was reunited with my mother. Because you see, when my brother and I, we begged so long. We were in a couple of foster homes particularly that was so brutal. he and I would just pray together that she would come and get us. You know, we would always just pray, is she going to come today? Is this going to end today? Is she coming? And we would pray that she would come. And when she finally did, you know, we talked about that often. You know, we had to be out of our minds because it was like from the frying pan directly into the fire, you know.
Very difficult time for you. So who would read your book?
I would pray that a lot of children, young people would read it, that are not only the ones in foster care, but the ones that come in contact with children that are in the foster care system. You know, because then they know that, because a lot of times those kids are stumbling and they're just stumbling through life, you know, and they don't really know how to make meaningful relationships because they're not experiencing any. So when young people meet those other young people, you know, there's a lot of tension and that could be eased in just reading about what they went through. Because, I mean, all young people go through the things they go through. But there's a special emphasis on what a child in foster care could go through. And then also a lot of educators. I know one time a woman reviewed my book and she felt that a lot of people who teach sociology, psychology, even students could do a thesis on my book. But I think that it's for the everyday person, people who are going to adopt, so that you know the importance of adopting children that are not all the time babies, but some of those kids that are 9, 10, 11, 12, you know, catch them in those formative years that you can adopt and help them and maybe change the course of their lives.
So your reason for writing the book was to bring out what? To get people to understand what about foster care?
I wrote the book really to save my own life. And I'm hoping that the aspects that I touch on in my book helps other people in their lives. But in all honesty, I wrote the book because of everything that I went through in foster care. I didn't want it to turn me inside out. You know, I watched what it did to my brother. And I didn't want to go through that existence. I wanted to air it because I wanted people. I once had someone on my staff because I was always in management in the corporate world. You know, I would honestly, my husband laughed sometimes because I'd say, I'm not going to go for I'm not going to be promoted this time, and I'd end up happening. But one person said to me, you know, you're a bit much because it's intimidating, and I know you're a warm person, but you don't really know how to get to somebody like that because you always got that guard up, and you never know if you're going to get slammed, even though you want to reach out. And I didn't want to always be thought of as that. You know, I know that I tend to be a fiery person, but I think that I'm a much more, though you're one of my closest friends. In fact, you and I are best friends. Yeah. So you probably would beg to differ sometime, I know. But I'm a lot calmer than I was before I wrote it. But then I'm hoping that my story reaches out to people so that you could see the good foster care parents that I had and how important that was for me to help shape my life. And then some of those that are not so good could see what they're doing to children's lives. You know, you can't take these little kids into your home and into yourself if you're going to do them any kind of way, you know, because they end up bitter, and the same people that you're creating, we have to venture out to meet those same people later on, like the ones that are aging out of the foster care system. You know, they're aging out of the system and they're giving a few dollars. And here you go, here's $65, and hey, I hope you make it out okay. And those are the ones that we're seeing on the street corners. And when we get ready to go past, we got to hold our pocketbook tight, man, to keep from getting knocked out. But we have to understand, how could they even think about caring about what they do to us, because nobody cared about what they did to them.
I would like to thank Miss Ali for this interview today. And we would also like to promote her book, Survival of the Fittest. I've written a script called Lenora's Journey for Miss Ali. And again, we hope that you look into this book, and Miss Lauretta is going to give you the link to her website.
Okay, that's Acting Lauretta. That's ActingLauretta.tripod.com. And if you go to my website and order a copy, I'll send you a personalized autographed copy with a little short note. Okay, thanking you. And thank you so much for having me.
Thank you, Miss Ali.
Thanks.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.